Hello, my lovelies. Well, while we're waiting to see who might join us, I had a little bit of technical trouble on my computer. I couldn't seem to be able to initiate a live from my computer. So here we are on my phone. I didn't panic. I'm kind of liable to panic. So I just sort of got on with it, and I went to the phone, and here we are. It's working as it should be on the phone. So maybe we'll just give people another moment or two. I'm headed to London soon, but it's going to be kind of a mixed thing. I've got to get Mum's flat sorted out, and that's going to be a bit of work. But I haven't been there in 4 years, which is the longest I've ever been away, because really I couldn't leave Mum. But now she's in the care home, well taken care of. Fabulous transition, by the way. Couldn't believe it. So I'm going to London, and I'm going to have a bit of fun too. Well, I think we'll get going. Today's chat is all about that little voice in your head. The one that tells you you're too much, you're too little, you're not enough, you're not good enough, all those sorts of things. And I think we all have one, don't we really? We all have one. And mine happens to be a little too much. I can be a Jack Russell level of boing. I'm telling you, boing, 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 boing. Jack Russell level. Hi, we have someone here. Good to see you. Say hi in the comments if you want to, and, join the fun. Well, I can have Jack Russell levels of boing. And this could be a little overwhelming. It'll be like down, down, down. A little too much, down, down, down. Well, is that necessarily a terrible thing? That's mine. Think a bit about yours. What would yours be? What's that voice, the one that's been in your head? And you know what? It's probably been in your head since you were a child. It's the kind of thing your parents or other adults say. It really is. But what if I could tell you that this could be a positive? What if I could tell you that yoga helps? Well, let's pick up. Let's explore that little voice first a little more, and then we'll move on to that interesting little tidbit about perhaps yoga can help. Now, that voice has probably been with you since you were a child. Adults, your parents, that's often where it begins. I was talking recently to a friend about how we often feel, think, and say to children, you're too sensitive. Oh, you need to toughen up. And it comes from a good place. The thinking is, the world's tough out there. And you got to be able to deal with it. You got to grow that thick skin. You've got to just let it wash over you. You've got to toughen up and be strong. And, that tough in how you go about your life. And not everyone's really sensitive. But for those who are sensitive, is that really helpful? If you kind of end up negating a part of yourself, saying that a part of who you are is negative, that's huge weight to bear. And who says that being sensitive can't be being tough? To go with our example. And I think that's the thing. We in the West, the things we sort of value, they're sort of thrusting, shall we say? They're goals. And yoga sees things just a bit differently. In yoga, we seek to find the strength in who we are. And if you're sensitive, it doesn't mean you're not tough. You can be a feeling person, and you can show it, and at the same time you can be strong. You don't have to toughen up. Now that's sort of a mind-blowing concept, isn't it? And it was a really fabulously interesting conversation and back and forth that, we were all having about that. You can find this sort of thing in yoga. And how? What's that all about? I mean, it's one thing to say, oh gosh, well, I think there's a lot of benefits to being sensitive. But I've always been told I'm too sensitive. And how do I tap into the positives? The thing about yoga is that it connects our mind and our body. The thing about yoga is that it gives us space and time and place, a physical moving place, a physical meditating place for us to settle into who we are, for us to understand that. And I'm not saying it's always easy. It isn't. This is the hard work. But to feel the changes, to feel that connection, it's worth the hard work. It really is. And it's not something that we in the US really tend to think about. To go back to that thrusting, goal-orientated concept, we in the Midwest, well, I guess particularly the Midwest, maybe, who knows? Anyway, not the Midwest, we in the US, we don't value taking time to dig into ourselves. We only value exercise in that it pushes our body forward. we think that our body should be at the beck and call of our mind. But what if I told you that having our mind and our body connected through yoga, through the actual physical yoga, can really shift things? Because when you are doing yoga, you are curious about your body. You are connected to the movement, thinking about how it feels. And you are doing conscious breathing. And from science, we know that when we breathe consciously, different parts of our brains work. And that brings together the mind and the body. And that creates this space for us to slow down and to be able to look upon all those things that we've been told that we're not good enough, that the only way we can do well is through having a high-paying job. Perhaps we want to cut through that. Perhaps we value more of a work-life balance. That's what I'm talking about here. We take this into meditation. Meditation, it can be following your breath and talking about your breath. There are specific breathing techniques. You can check out alternate nostril breathing in my resource page. If you've become a subscriber, you get access to my resource page. At any rate, you can find these breathing techniques just anywhere online. And that gives you this quiet and this space just to sit. This is something we don't value. But what happens is that when we sit down and understand what's going on with those voices in our heads and other things that society is telling us, things start to happen. They really do. And gosh, I can see perhaps you're sitting there thinking, yeah, well, how do I go about that? I mean, I need a way in. Well, on my resource page, I have some fabulous journaling prompts that I think really would help you to start to understand where you got this little voice, how it's affecting you, and you can start to dig into how it's holding you back. And then when you do your physical practice, your asana, when you do your meditation, when you just quietly breathe, when you have that time and that space, that's when the magic happens. It really does. And you'll find that being sensitive, or that having your too much boing boing Jack Russell or whatever it is. It becomes a real positive. It's not to say that you want to be untethered totally. It's about channeling these things and how you use them. But it's not about denying them. You know, those things in you are important. And they need cultivating in a positive way. And that's where yoga comes in. And that's where yoga can just strip back all this other superfluous stuff. And that's when the magic happens. And that's when you can step into yourself and confidently move ahead, knowing who you are and in what great ways that's good. So, go ahead. Be proud of that little voice. Find the positive in it. Make the magic happen. You know you can do it.